Thank you for tuning in to the Chundria Show. I'm your host, Chundria Brownlow, and I'm incredibly excited to kick off Season 6. Get to know today's special guest, star actress and incredible vocalist, Chandra Currelley. Today, she and I discuss her role as Alice Watts on Tyler Perry's hit show, Bruh, on BET+, and her vibrant career in music and entertainment spanning nearly 4 decades.
On those kind of names.
With a name like Chandria, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, Chandra, my dear, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
I'm fabulous.
Yes, you are fabulous. Now, I understand you were born in Jacksonville, Florida. I have family in Jacksonville too. And you currently live in Atlanta. You know, what were your early experiences in the South that cultivated your pathway into the performing arts?
Well, I was brought up in a house full of music. Yes, my mother was, eclectic. So I heard music, R&B, blues, jazz, movie soundtracks. For a while, I didn't even realize other people didn't do that they would just have a category that they liked. Because I just liked good music.
And different genres, I'm assuming you were inspired by.
Yes, as long as it's good.
As long as it's good, I understand that. Now, I read on your bio that the iconic actors Samuel L. Jackson and his wife LaTanya Richardson Jackson were your mentors in your senior year of high school. Tell me about your very memorable theater workshop where you had with Mr. Jackson, his positive feedback that he gave you.
Well, it was great because, I just was following her around. I just, and she let me, and we became very close. She was like a big sister. I'm an only child, so, I have the space in the room for that, And so, as time went on, after I graduated, they had a workshop, part of the theater company they was working at. And so he said to LaTanya, he said, well, I'll pay for her to go. And my best friend, he was an actor too, and we just cut up, we were just clowning around. But then she paid for his tuition to the school too. So, one of those type of things where they just saw something in me, that I didn't even see in myself. I just was having fun, But one time, a very memorable time was when I was playing around and she'd given me a monologue and she asked me to get off the stage. I felt so bad because I felt I let her down. And then she gave me another chance. And that's when the magic hit. I committed myself, and when I committed myself, I just lost myself in it. And the feeling was what I'm doing now. Bug hit.
So you had been acting in productions at school, or were you just kind of that outgoing student or that outgoing child? Is that how it was, or were you active in the arts even in high school?
I was a class clown, and I was always in the chorus. So I was always, because I loved music, I was always in the chorus. And my last year, I had some open classes. I could just pick any kind of class. So I said, you know what? I'll just take a drama class. I was really more so into the singing. I love to sing, but when I got into the acting, it was like another world for me. Like it extended that part of me that was a storyteller. Oh, I don't just have to sing.
Right.
I can act like somebody else and still, give a message or tell a story.
So Samuel L. Jackson actually in this workshop told you, you're a good singer, take some voice lessons and you'll get more work in theater. How did those words encourage and empower you through your career, even today?
Well, yeah, I knew I could sing, but I didn't go I'm a really good singer. Because then when I met LaTanya, all of a sudden I really focused on the acting. I was just like, I'm going to be this thespian, And Sam said that one day, he was like, you can sing. He was like, you would work more, doing musicals if you, take voice lessons. And so a friend of theirs by the name of Charles Mann, at that particular time, he was a recording artist, but also he had gone to Morehouse too. So he had studied voice and music. And so they talked him into, I guess they told him, and I ended up going to their house, taking voice lessons.
And the rest is history, right?
The rest is history.
Now, musically, you found inspiration in the likes of recording artists like Mahalia Jackson, Miles Davis, Sarah Vaughan, Gladys Knight, and even Marvin Gaye. Collectively, what do those acts have in common, in your opinion?
Wow. I mean, for me, Mahalia was early on. My grandmother was like the mother of the church. So I was very close to religious music, inspirational music early on. And so I remember her singing the hymns and that kind of thing. And Mahalia was one of maybe the first gospel artists that just caught my ear. Of course, later on, I figured out why, because she could have sung anything. I mean, she was actually a musician. She was like Ella Fitzgerald. They just sang, but they were musicians. And then, I mean, I learned my inspirational part of me comes from that. And then as I went on, I started listening to jazz. And then Miles Davis was one of those people that taught me about space, how important it is, how more important it is you're not doing than what you're doing. And so, and then of course, I grew up doing R&B. And the person that voice was pretty close to mine, alto, whatever, was Gladys Knight. And because I grew up kind of on that Motown sound too, a little bit, like later on, the Jacksons and all that. And Marvin Gaye influence was that he was so creative in styling. He's like one of the first recording artists that would layer his voice, his vocals. And, when you hear me sing, it's a combination of all of that. You're going to feel something, you're going to know something, and touched by something.
Your music absolutely evokes emotions. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, you could take them to church,
Yeah.
You can make them feel something. You make people feel loved when you sing. You make people feel happy. You make people nostalgic with your music, and I love that those are your musical influences. And I feel like a little piece of those are carried in the notes of your music as well. So I think that's really a beautiful reflection of how you have evolved, over your time, as an artist, as a creator.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So are you currently working on or promoting any new music for your fans these days, right now during the pandemic?
Yes, well, last year I released my first solo video, Tell Me What I Gotta Do, which was a remake of Al Jarreau. And he's another influence of mine, and especially in jazz. And so the response was so good because I really didn't, because of the acting, I hadn't been in the studio in a while. So during the pandemic, I was just, God, what do I do at this time? Because I had filmed and I was finished filming. And I was just led to do what I wanted to do. Because I've been in a situation where the industry kind of dictate what you're going to do. And at the stage of the game where I am now, it's like I can kind of choose that. And I wanted to do something that was familiar to people. So that's why I did a familiar song, but it was also a song where I really respected the artist who did it before. So I did it almost like a tribute. But the response was so good that now I'm working to finish the project. So I'm really excited about that. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to finish that project up so I can follow up on it. Great responses from the song.
Congratulations. I'm excited about not only that you're continually creating new music, but that you're also stepping out there and doing music videos. And
yeah.
That's so cool. So did you know what you wanted the video to be like? Did you kind of direct things, or did you kind of delegate that on?
Yeah, I wanted, it was certain elements that I wanted. Got a director that actually does motion picture. He actually does movies. And so even when I asked him, he was like, yeah, I'll do it. He was like, but Chandra, I do movies, and so I don't want people to come to me like, I'm gonna do a video. I was like, no, I understand. And I just trusted him. But it was certain elements, like I wanted to be outside, among the environment, because people had been kind of closed in, and I wanted my video to have that freedom, what it's like, to be in nature, because we're all connected with that and connected to God. Out in that nature. I wanted it to be outside. I also wanted certain elements like water, stone and brick, and those things mean things in a spiritual place. I didn't really understand that until later, but those were the things that were like giving to me. So I was like, I got to find a place, you got to find a location where this is and what this is and that, and what I ended up doing was at Tyler Perry's first studio.
Okay.
That was not planned. That's why I went to go have the meeting with the guy to do the video. It was like, all the stuff that you're talking about is here. Who lets a person do that? So it was just, I was following in the path I was supposed to go, because everything just was in place. Everybody was able to be there. Everybody was into it and believed in it and understood it. And one thing about the song, the people, name of the song is Tell Me What I Gotta Do, and it's a love song. It's like, tell me what I gotta do. I got to say this to you. I got to, take you out. I gotta, and then I realized it wasn't the place. Like places as far as, space and area, it meant, where do I have to go to communicate with you? Where in my head do I have to be? To have you a part of my world. And at the same time, I realized I was speaking to the people. And I was saying, I've recorded, I've acted, I've played, film, all this stuff. And it's like, what do I have to do to be that big household name? It became like a little deeper. And all those is subliminal in the video. To the people, to the audience.
So it sounded like it turned from a fun, creative experience to a very spiritual and even therapeutic experience, especially to have these experiences during the pandemic after the world kind of shut down. The world was on watch. Everything that was going on, and so people were at home. A lot of shows and things had stopped. Production had stopped.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, life had just kind of paused. Like everything that I was working on is at a complete standstill. And I love that for you. Like not only it's your gift, your music is your gift to your fans, but I love that you kind of had that spiritual oasis that you already kind of creating your music, but it got even deeper for you. So congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
And now,
me too.
I am absolutely in awe to learn that you were the lead singer of the SOS band from 1985 to 1993. I am 40 years old, but I am an old man's baby. I was a kid for sure, but like my parents were not the kind of people that just let you listen to what you wanted to listen to. You listen to their jams, their music, and so I've always loved. I still have a very, really strong affinity for old school music, even what the lyricism was about. That's what for my 9th birthday, this will tell you, I asked my mom for a Sam Cooke's Greatest Hits CD. What 9-year-old in 1989 asking for a Sam Cooke CD? And so
but you were getting like a legend. And as a matter of fact, a lot of singers now take their phrasing from Sam Cooke.
Everything's taken from old school music.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is Sam Cooke was heavy duty because, after that, the phrasing of like, you would say the Isley Brothers. Then it went from the Isley Brothers to maybe Charlie Wilson. I mean, if you listen closely, you will hear these phrasing, and that's where it was coming from. Every singer do not pass that on to the generation. That was a person that we still hear in the artists of today.
I love that. And so, okay, back to you in this band.
Okay.
I'm curious because you've toured, you have traveled the world, you have performed across the world. You've been in stage plays. You were lead singer of the SOS band. You know, I don't expect a specific number, but can you provide an estimate of how many times you think you've performed in front of a live audience in the span of, what is it, 4 decades nearly now?
That's a hard question.
Hundreds, thousands?
I'm at thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Life. That is remarkable.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
Love for so long is so special to me. And so I'm commending you. You're an inspiration in so many ways to just live life, you know, and then how you elevate, you know, like you're just continually elevating and you're still going, you're still creating, you're still performing. So I'm just like, I can only imagine how many times she's performed or graced a stage, you know.
But yeah, because what you have to do, you know, as an artist, you have to evolve, you know, and to stay relevant, you have to get better. You know, you just, yeah. And you have to reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm. And you look like you're having fun the whole time, you know?
Yes, and you know, yeah, I'm very fortunate in that, you know, I do something that I really love to do. And a lot of it is being grounded too, because if you're not grounded and have a real life and be a real person, because a lot of it is an illusion, and because it's for a reason. A lot of people get caught up in it and then turn out well for them. Other people are enjoying and you know, getting joy and all that kind of stuff, and the person that's given it is not fulfilled. So a lot of the fact that I've been able to reinvent myself and you know, kind of stay relevant is because I've always been grounded. My family, my mother, made sure that I was grounded and I knew who I was and that I knew who God is. And so a lot of that I've had somewhere to go when it got crazy, you know, when I needed to know that this is not real, but this is real, and know the difference and be able to stay strong, you know, and deal with the ins and outs. Because this is a hard industry. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Discernment is a true gift. It's a gift and it is a blessing, and that's awesome that you've carried that, you know, and that you are a woman of faith. And I feel like it just, as you guide along your pathway, you know, that stays true in your heart. Okay, so audiences worldwide have watched you play the character Alice Watts on Tyler Perry's Bruh on BET+. How are you feeling about this third season that's coming up, or that's premiered already? How are you feeling about the third season? 3 seasons!
That's a blessing by itself, right? But the thing is, you get to know the character better and better. So that helps too, you know, when you get to do these seasons, because, you know, they become real people. And you always take them from somewhere real anyway. And when you work with Tyler Perry, you definitely do. I mean, sometimes they seem like they're over the top or whatever. And really, if people are truthful, they know a few people that are over the top. So he always takes experiences of real life, put them in a way where people can digest it. Because sometimes, you know, if you give people, you know, they just be like, you know, the taste of it is just not, you know, but you have to fool them like a little kid and put a little, you know, put it in their food or something and some candy or something, and, you know, to make them better. And so I love working with him because that's the way he thinks. So now during the third season, he knows the characters better. So it's great the way the characters have evolved, and so has Alice. And so by this time, people kind of know Alice, because when they first see her, they're just like, oh, she's over the top, she's da-da-da-da-da. But then you get to understand that she's a single parent. She's a black woman raising a black man in a world that when he steps out the door, she has in her mind a few things that he might face. And she's preparing him, and she's prepared him. And she's there for him. And they're just like ride or die, both of them. And that's funny because in a sense, that's how it was with my mother and I. And that's what I mean about art, real life. If you pay attention, a lot of messages are in what you're doing. It's like you go like, wow, that's kind of weird that connects with who I am. But no, even in the art for me, and I didn't think about that until like the second season. I didn't even think about it. But you grew up on your mom. And so it's added so much more to the relationship with my son on the show.
You know what? I've heard you say today that you were the class clown in high school. And I know that this type of role is different than maybe perhaps some of the past roles. Like I said, I know you've graced many stages, you've been different characters. But I love this difference for you, where you're witty, you're on him. I mean, the quip. So now knowing that you were the class clown in high school, I wonder, how off the cuff you are. If you're ad-libbing some of those remarks, are you, when you're on set or some of that,
Yeah.
Chandra
Currelley, yeah. Well, yeah. And also, Mr. Perry does the same thing because he gets into it and then he starts saying, say this, say that. But then the guy that plays my son, he's a comedian. So, that's their thing is to ad-lib. I have to stay with him. We just have a ball.
So sometimes the ad-libs end up being in the episode?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's that good. And working with Tyler, from the plays, I know how to work with people who come up with things just on the spot. And in acting, it's called acting. And so it's being present, being there. So you don't have to, that's what I like about film too. You don't have to live the lines. I mean, it's just, if you feel in a moment that this is real, do it.
I cannot imagine being on this set because like you'll like hit him with something funny or berate him or whatever, and then the first he's like mom, like literally.
I know. And,
look,
and all that ad lib.
And then you do this smirk. I'm a fan of the show, but you do this like giggle or this laugh like at his like annoyance, And it's just, I think that's
yes. Yeah, and that was one of those things too that kind of grew. It was like, now I get her. So she just saying a lot of stuff that bother him.
And you like, I can't even.
She go into that little laugh thing, and that just happened. Alice, that's the little thing up under there, like, yeah, I got you, and then he started like marking it. Then in one episode, I did it and he did it back. Yeah, okay, mom. Da 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 da.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The third season is so good. So good.
I'm so proud of the entire cast.
We went up a notch.
It's a great show. I am a fan forever. So I know this isn't your first show that you worked on with Tyler Perry, which is awesome. You played Mrs. B and For Better or For Worse. You were Shirley in Medea's Big Happy Family, the stage play. And like you kind of touched on already about like what your experience has been working with Tyler Perry for such a long time. And obviously, your family, because you're using the studio for your business meetings. So
wait, he didn't know. And when he saw the video, he said, "Looks familiar." He said, recognize that place. I was like, yeah, because now it's the only Latino film studio in the country.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That means that you can green light a film.
Right.
Not just sound stages.
Right.
And So yeah, so he wasn't expecting. I didn't tell him. I just let him see the video, and he was like, "Oh, I recognize that place," and that messed him up. Yeah, well, it messed me up too because it's just the way things work.
Beautiful. And you're continually sharing your gifts and your talents with the world. Who or what do you attribute to your personal success thus far?
Oh my goodness. I just think God has always surrounded me with great people. He's always surrounded me around great people. And that's starting with my parents. And then, who would have known that Samuel Jackson was going to be Samuel Jackson? And who would have known the guy that came to the theater one night and said, "Would you read my play?" And I was like, okay. Would end up being Tyler Perry, the Tyler Perry. So God has always put me in play in the presence of greatness. And I think it's always been up to me what kind of drive and commitment. And those are the things that my parents gave me, that when you do something, you be committed to it and you do it at your best ability. And my mother gave me a great work ethic. And that, until I really figured it all out, sustained me. So I got to the point where I put it all together. Yeah.
Your gifts have made room for you, my dear. I tell you that. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, like you said, this industry can be difficult and challenging to say the least. What encouraging words can you offer anyone watching who's growing weary and getting to their big break in the entertainment industry? Like I say, especially in the wake of this global pandemic.
Well, what I'd like to say is, first of all, you don't give up. You got to trust your gift. Also, sometimes it doesn't happen because you're not ready. Be ready to get more things that you need to sustain you, because you can be like an overnight success. I heard Gladys Knight say, "Prepare yourself for longevity." That's what it's all about. You want to stay there. You don't want to just have a moment and say, I used to, and prepare yourself. And even in those moments when you're not working, it's like, do the things that will stretch you. Something you've never done before. They always say sometimes don't just all the time write with your right hand. Try to write with your left hand. Because all of those things are going to come into play. And you got to believe. If nobody else believes, you got to believe. Because that's where it starts. And they pay attention to that more so than anything else.
That's right. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with the world and with us right here on the Chundria Show. Now, just before we go, please tell me about your upcoming See the Lady Soul of Jazz show. When is it? Where is it? And how do we get tickets?
Okay, great. So, April 2nd, I'll be at Breezy Jazz House. That's in Jacksonville, Florida. A beautiful jazz club there in the suburbs. And you can get your ticket at breezyjazzclub.com. Simple as that.
breezyjazzclub.com.
You go to the website, scroll down to the date, and get your tickets.
Awesome. Chandra Currelley, I want to thank you for being my special guest on the Chundria Show today. If anyone is interested in following your journey online, what's the best way to do so?
You can go Instagram, The Real Chandra Currelley, Facebook, Chandra Currelley, Twitter, Chandra Currelley.
Branded,
simple like that. Yeah, I try to keep it as simple as possible.
All right, my dear. Well, you have a fantastic day. Enjoy that beautiful Atlanta weather, and I can't wait to share the video with you. You take care. I enjoy talking
Thank you
so much. Bye.
So much, sweetheart. Bye-bye.